My whole life revolves around bottle digging. I generally try and keep one of everything. I mean, I have probably 5,000 bottles in my personal collection. And that's just too many to handle, but I just can't bear to part with them. I'm Scott Given, and I am a professional treasure hunter and YouTube video maker. And I have basically spent most of my time in the last 37 years looking for bottles and studying bottles and cleaning bottles, turning bottles purple, repairing bottles, everything you can do with bottles.
Scott Given, who moved from New Mexico to Selma 14 years ago, has established himself as the most prolific bottle hunter in the state, if not the entire country.
I actually moved to North Carolina specifically because of bottle collecting.
Oh, really? So what makes North Carolina a hotspot?
Well, it is known as the Pepsi state. There's a lot of rare ones from North Carolina that are $1,000 or $2,000 or even $3,000 each, and that inspired me to want to move here to dig for them. I mean, I have a goal of collecting 100 Pepsi bottles of the most unique styles. This one is from Greensboro. This has an interesting design. This is the only Pepsi that has Pepsi Cola written sideways. Well, that shape is very popular. It's very rare as well.
What's your favorite Pepsi bottle that you have?
Well, my favorite one is one I do not have yet. It looks very similar to this one right here. That one that's called a 10-pin. There's one of those from Williamston. It is so rare that so many bottle collectors have gone to that town trying to dig one up, and nobody has ever found one. And as an added bonus, I got to learn about the whiskeys of North Carolina, which are also, well, they're so much more rare.
Since moving to North Carolina, Given has only found a dozen or so whiskey bottles.
What's your most unique bottle that you have, you think?
It is a whiskey flask from Hamilton. It's the only one there is. It's the only bottle of any kind there is from Hamilton. And Hamilton's a very small town. Always has been.
At the turn of the 20th century, the temperance movement was making inroads across the country. By the late 1800s, many North Carolina counties were restricting liquor sales to a limited number of towns through dispensaries.
All alcoholic beverage containers were discontinued in 1920 because national prohibition. So all the beers and whiskeys and bitters bottles and anything else like that would have been done away with.
Given hunts for bottles about 100 days of the year.
I do think I have dug more bottles than any person alive. I estimate I've dug about 100,000 antique bottles.
And each of his expeditions is planned with the care of an archaeological dig.
I went to an antique store that had a large quantity of bottles for sale. And one day the guy that had those bottles said, "Hey, why don't you join the bottle club if you like bottles so much?" And I thought, a bottle club? So when I went to it, their main subject was digging up 1880s and 90s bottles from outhouse pits. And I thought, that sounds kind of strange, but I am in love with antique bottles now, so I definitely am willing to give that a try.
Is that the best place to find bottles, I guess? Outhouse pits? Why is that? Do you know?
Well, I don't think there's any history written about it, but there's bottles in almost all outhouse pits from the 1820s to the 1920s. Well, actually all the way to 1945. Why are they there? People can only surmise that the trash truck didn't drive by every week to pick up your trash, so you had to figure out how to deal with it yourself. If you had a 6-foot deep hole in your backyard, why not throw some of the trash down there?
So, the million-dollar question is, do you get grossed out looking at old outhouses, or is it just kind of, it's all dirt now, I guess?
Well, it's not quite regular dirt, but it's certainly not anything disgusting. Because if it was, then there's quite a distinct possibility that I wouldn't be doing this.
While there is certainly an economic interest in their collecting, it's clear as the glass in a vintage 1920s Pepsi bottle that Given is also motivated by the beauty of his finds and their historical significance.
I literally don't know what I would be doing with my life if I didn't dedicate my life to bottle collecting. I used to collect all kinds of different things, and after about a couple of years, I would get tired of it, and I would think, oh, I want to collect these instead. Like arrowheads for a couple of years, then fishing lures for a couple of years, then old vintage magazines for a couple of years. Then, when I discovered bottle collecting, something about it, I stuck with it for 37 years because you can own the only one known to exist. If you were talking about coins, for example, there's no way you could afford or even acquire a one-of-a-kind coin. But I have a number of one-of-a-kind bottles. And of course, it isn't about the money because, I'm keeping all these. So it's more of about collecting than it is making money. Only if I have 2 or 3 of the same thing would I sell them. You shouldn't be obsessed with these $100 to $5,000 bottles because when I first started collecting bottles, I just was perfectly content with $5 bottles. And yeah, these are pretty much what I started out with. Before I knew about bottle digging, painted label soda bottles, well, there's a lot of them from the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Why do you enjoy hunting for bottles and collecting bottles?
I think treasure hunting is possibly one of the most desirable things on earth to do. Who wouldn't want to dig up buried treasure? And yes, bottles are treasure.
To learn more about North Carolina's bottle collecting community, read my story in the July 2025 issue of Our State magazine. And subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos just like this one. This video is sponsored by Heart of North Carolina Visitors Bureau.
Which one's your favorite one?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Well, this one being from the town that I live in makes it pretty rare. It is rare. It took about 9 years of living in this town before I finally got that one.